This video didn't come to you by chance. If you're watching this, it's because the universe has decided you're ready. There's an ancient and powerful book, the Book of Thoth, that can't be found in any library. It only appears in someone's life when they reach a specific frequency, a soul readiness, and the fact that you stopped to watch this is the ultimate sign. You've been called. While millions of people remain stuck on autopilot, feeling an emptiness that nothing can fill, you felt something was different. This feeling isn't a mistake. It's your soul telling you that your time to awaken has arrived. In the next few minutes, I won't be talking to you about vague theories. I'll give you the first key to accessing the knowledge in this book, which is actually much closer than you think. What you'll discover today has the power to change the way you see yourself and your reality forever. Stay with me until the end, because each part of this video is a stepping stone, and the one at the top will make everything make sense. If you feel called, comment below. I'm ready. This force that has guided you here isn't luck or chance. It's physics. A subtle physics that modern science is only beginning to scratch the surface of, but that ancient sages mastered. Have you ever noticed how certain things seem to just appear in your life right after you think about them? You think of a friend you haven't seen in years, and the next day they call you. An old song that marked your life plays on the radio at the exact moment you feel nostalgic. An unfamiliar name or a rare word you learn comes up 3 times in less than 24 hours. This isn't coincidence. It's vibrational physics in action. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, is not a private event confined within your skull. It's a transmission. Each one emits a specific frequency, a unique energetic signature that propagates through the quantum field, interacting with everything in existence. You are a mobile transmission tower, sending signals to the universe 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. The problem is that most people transmit their signals unconsciously, chaotically, sending a mix of fear, desire, doubt, and hope, and then wonder why their lives are so confusing and contradictory. Here's the game-changing secret. You don't attract what you want with your mind. The mind wants many things, often conflicting ones. You want more money, but you're afraid you won't be able to pay the bills. You want a great love, but you carry the hurt of past relationships. Wanting is a mental, superficial act. Attraction, manifestation responds to something much deeper. You attract what you are with your vibration. Your vibration is the sum total of your feelings, your subconscious beliefs, your dominant energy. It is your state of being. This knowledge, this message, could only reach you because, on some level, your inner frequency began to align with his. You may not have realized it, but your recent experiences, even the most difficult ones, were actually adjusting your internal dial. That frustration with routine, that feeling that life must have more to offer, that silent questioning of your purpose, all of this acted as a purification process. These experiences, however painful, served to shatter old certainties and make room for a new frequency to emerge. You became a magnet for this knowledge. Think about it. You weren't actively seeking Thoth's wisdom or vibrational frequency. You were simply living your life, but your internal state, your hunger for answers, your readiness to evolve, began to vibrate at a frequency that resonates with this kind of truth. The universe, which operates by laws of magnetic resonance, simply connected the dots. It aligned your frequency with the frequency of this information. It was an inevitable response to a signal you were emitting. Now that the connection has been established, the true flow of information can begin. Until now, it was as if you were trying to download a large file with an unstable dial-up internet connection. There was interference, drops, slowdowns. But your decision to stop, to pay attention, to engage with this signal, strengthened the connection. You opened the door and showed the universe that you are ready to receive. From this point on, it's no longer about chance encounters, but about a conscious download of wisdom. The next step is to learn to use this frequency deliberately. Instead of being an unconscious transmitter, subject to the ups and downs of your emotions and external events, you can become a conscious operator of your own reality. You can learn to calibrate your vibration to align with the life you genuinely want to live. But before you can do that, there's a guardian you need to confront. A self-sabotaging mechanism that will try to convince you that this is all nonsense. The moment you begin to accept the possibility that you can shape your reality, something inside you rebels. A voice emerges, subtle at first, then louder. This is too good to be true. What esoteric nonsense. If it were that easy, everyone would be happy and rich. Don't be naive. Life is hard. This voice, this feeling of resistance, of skepticism, of impatience, is your greatest test right now. This is not an external enemy. It's your own ego, the guardian of your former self, and it's terrified. The ego is the identity structure you've built over your life. It's made up of your memories, your beliefs, your traumas, the labels you've accepted for yourself. Its primary function is to keep you safe, and for the ego, safety means familiarity. Even if the familiar is a cycle of suffering, scarcity, or frustration, at least it's a familiar suffering. The idea that you can transcend this, that you can operate by a new set of rules, threatens the ego's very existence. If you can change, then who is it? It loses control. This resistance isn't a signal to back down. On the contrary, it's confirmation that you're on the right path. It's the guardian of your next level. In all mythologies and heroes' journeys, before entering the sacred world or finding the treasure, the hero must face a guardian at the gate. A dragon, a riddle, a monster. This guardian isn't there to destroy the hero, but to test their resolve. It serves to filter the curious from the truly committed. The voice of doubt in your head is your personal dragon. The universe places these guardians along the path not to block you, but to ensure that only those who are ready pass. It's a cosmic safety mechanism. Handing over such a great power as the conscious creation of reality to someone unprepared would be disastrous. It would be like giving the keys to a nuclear power plant to a child. Doubt, skepticism, the desire to give up. All of these are tests of your soul's maturity. Each time you choose to continue, despite doubt, you demonstrate to the cosmos your readiness. You're literally passing through an invisible portal with every paragraph you read. Most people give up here. They feel the discomfort of doubt, the resistance of their ego, and retreat to the safety of their old worldview. That's why they keep repeating the same cycles, experiencing the same problems, year after year. They reach the door, feel the presence of the guardian, and turn around, convinced the door was locked. But the door was never locked. The guardian was the test, your decision to move forward, to read the next sentence, to silence the voice of skepticism just long enough to hear what comes next, is what breaks the pattern. It's the act of drawing your sword and facing the dragon. You don't have to slay it. You just have to show that you're not afraid of it. By doing so, you open the door to what was hidden just behind that obstacle. You gain access to a new layer of understanding, a new level of the game. And what lies behind this door is the understanding that the most painful events in your life were not accidents or punishments. They were, in fact, your preparation. They were the secret training that forged you and gave you the exact raw material you need to take the next step. You are about to discover that your past is not a burden, but your greatest hidden treasure. Now that you've crossed the first gate, look back for a moment. Look at the challenges, pain, losses, and failures you've faced in your life. The common instinct, conditioned by society, is to see them as scars, as marks of damage, as dead weight you carry on your back that weakens you. The narrative you've been told is that you are a victim of your circumstances, that your past limits you. But the wisdom of Thoth, the wisdom of true alchemists, teaches that this is the greatest deception of all. These experiences are not your burden. They are your raw material. The ancient and sacred science of alchemy was popularized in stories about turning lead into literal gold. But this was merely a metaphor for a much deeper and more powerful process. True alchemy was never about metals. It was about the human soul. Lead was the symbol for the dense energies of suffering, fear, anger, sadness, shame, resentment. Gold was the symbol of enlightened consciousness, wisdom, compassion, and spiritual power. The great alchemical work was the transmutation of suffering into light. You're not here to rid yourself of your pain, to bury it, or to pretend it didn't exist. You're here to transform it. Every challenge you've overcome, every heartbreak you've survived, every moment of despair where you thought you couldn't make it but did, has forged you in a unique way. These experiences have sculpted in you a strength you haven't yet recognized. They've given you a depth and resilience that someone who's had an easy life could never understand. You were in the forge, and the intense heat was tempering you. The universe didn't allow these experiences to punish you. That's a childish view of reality. It allowed them because they were the exact ingredients you needed for this very moment of your awakening. Think of a master blacksmith. He doesn't hammer steel because he hates it. He subjects it to fire and pressure to transform it from a lump of raw ore into a strong mathai, flexible and sharp blade. Your trials were the fire and the hammer. They shattered your fragile and brittle self to reveal the steel of your soul. Now, you are about to learn how to use the fire of your consciousness to finally accomplish this transmutation deliberately. Until now, the process has been largely unconscious. You survived. You moved on. But perhaps you still carry the weight of those experiences. Conscious inner alchemy begins when you stop running from your own darkness and turn to face it, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. You begin to look at your wounds not with self-pity, but with curiosity. What has this pain taught me about strength? What has this loss taught me about love? What has this failure taught me about humility? By asking these questions, you light the fire of awareness. This fire doesn't burn away the pain, it illuminates it. And in this light, you begin to see the patterns, the lessons, the hidden gifts. The energy that was trapped in the form of trauma begins to release, to transform. The lead begins to glow, to heat up, to change color. You begin to realize that your ability to feel the pain of others comes from your own pain. Your strength to face adversity comes from the adversities you've faced. Your wisdom comes not from the books you've read, but from the lessons life has written on your skin. Your past ceases to be a prison sentence and becomes your source of power. And with this newfound power, you gain the ability to see what was previously invisible, realizing that the universe has always been guiding you through a secret language. With this new perspective, you begin to understand that the universe is in constant communication with you. But it doesn't speak Portuguese, English, or any other human language. It speaks the universal language of symbols, patterns, and synchronicities. And this dialogue is happening right now, all around you. A feather that appears in your path at the exact moment you think about freedom. A number, like 1111 or 444, that repeats insistently on clocks, license plates, and receipts. The same unusual phrase uttered by 3 different people in a single day. These aren't coincidences. They're the coordinates of your map. The problem is that we've been taught to ignore these signs. Our culture, focused on materialism and rational logic, has trained us to dismiss anything that can't be weighed and measured. We label these magical occurrences as coincidences and move on, missing the message. It's as if we receive love letters from the universe every day, but we throw them in the trash unopened because the envelope doesn't look official. Thoth, the master of language, knew that symbols bypass the filter of the logical mind and speak directly to the soul. They are the language of the subconscious, the native tongue of the spirit. Starting today, your task is to become a cosmic detective, a decipherer of modern hieroglyphics. The practice is simple yet profound. Start paying attention. When one of these coincidences occurs, don't dismiss it. Stop for a second. Breathe. Feel the energy of the moment. Ask yourself, what was I thinking or feeling a second before I saw this? The signal is almost always a direct answer or a commentary on your inner state. It's the universe participating in your internal conversation. Keep a synchronicity journal. Write down the event, the date, the time, and what was happening in your life or mind at that moment. At first, they may seem like random dots on a page, but over time, when you look back, you'll be shocked. You'll begin to see the patterns, the lines connecting the dots. You'll realize there's no chaos, just a constant, intelligent conversation you weren't listening to. You'll discover that the universe has a sense of humor, that it's poetic and incredibly accurate. These signs aren't random. They're guiding you toward a specific discovery, a turning point that's much closer than you think. They function like road signs, telling you to turn left, go straight, or watch out for an obstacle ahead. When you're unsure about a decision, ask for a clear signal, and then let go. Stay alert. The answer will come, perhaps in the form of a conversation you overhear, a billboard on the street, or the title of a book that catches your attention. The universe is infinitely creative in its responses. By engaging in this dialogue, your life begins to take on a magical quality. You stop feeling like a victim of random events and start feeling like a dance partner of the cosmos. You realize you've never been alone, that there's always been an invisible hand guiding you, protecting you, and trying to get your attention. The feeling of loneliness and separation begins to dissolve, replaced by a sense of connection and belonging. You're learning to read the living map of your own journey. Within you, there's a force that believes it needs to control everything. It's a part of you forged by fear, by the need to survive. It tells you to plan every step, anticipate every problem, force results, and constantly fight against the current of life. This is the energy of the ego in its anxious manager mode. And it is, ironically, the main cause of your burnout, anxiety, and frustration. You expend immense energy trying to hold the reins of a wild horse that, in reality, knows exactly where to go. The greatest and most paradoxical lesson taught by masters of all traditions is that of surrender. In our culture, the word surrender is associated with defeat, weakness, and giving up. But in spiritual wisdom, surrender is an act of supreme power. It's not giving up on your journey. It's giving up your fight against it. It's ceasing to try to impose your small, limited will on the vast intelligence of the universe. It's the humble and powerful recognition that you don't know what's best for you. But there is a power that does. Imagine an experienced surfer. He doesn't paddle against the wave. He doesn't try to stop it or change its direction. That would be futile and would destroy him. Instead, he studies the wave, feels its rhythm, its strength, and then, at the right moment, he aligns with its energy. He surrenders to the power of the wave, riding it with mastery, grace, and joy. He uses the wave's strength to his advantage. Surrendering to the flow of the universe is exactly that. It's stopping fighting and starting to surf. By letting go of the need to micromanage your life, to know how everything will work out, you don't lose control. You hand over the reins to an infinitely more powerful and wise intelligence, the flow of the cosmos itself. It's a radical act of trust. It's saying to the universe, I don't know how, but I trust you know. Guide me. And the moment you do this from the heart, something miraculous happens. The doors you've been trying to break down begin to open on their own. The right people appear at the right time. Solutions you couldn't find appear like a sudden insight. This is the great paradox. When you stop fighting, you become invincible. When you stop trying to control, everything starts to fall into place perfectly. The energy you once spent worrying, overplanning, and resisting is now free to be used for creation, joy, and presence. You become lighter, more fluid. Life stops being a battle and becomes a dance. You realize that the universe is not your adversary, it is your partner. The universe is just waiting for you to stop rowing against the tide so it can take you exactly where you need to go. It has a destiny for you that is far greater and more magnificent than anything your limited mind could conceive. But it can't get you there while you're struggling, insisting on following your own small, outdated map. Letting go is the act of throwing away your map and trusting the cosmic GPS. And the destination he's guiding you to isn't a physical place. It's a revelation. A truth so fundamental and shocking that it will completely redefine who you think you are. Every step you've taken so far, every sign you've deciphered, every layer of pain you've transmuted, it's all been a preparation for this moment. You're being led to the edge of a precipice, not to fall, but to finally realize you have wings. The revelation in store for you is the very key to the book you've been searching for. Now, the revelation the universe has been preparing you for. Take a deep breath. Throughout your search, perhaps your entire life, you have searched for answers outside of you. You have sought a sacred book, an enlightened teacher, a belief system, a physical object of power that could give you the key to happiness and understanding. But the greatest secret, the best kept of all time, guarded not by a conspiracy but by your own limited perception, is this: the Book of Thoth is not made of paper and ink. It is not in an ancient library or a secret vault. It is made of consciousness. The Book of Thoth is you. Every cell in your body, vibrating with the intelligence of life, is a page. Every experience you've ever had, from the most trivial to the most transformative, is a chapter. Every thought, every emotion, every dream are living words written in this personal cosmic record. You don't need to read a book. You need to learn to read yourself. The wisdom you seek isn't in hieroglyphics carved in stone in Egypt. It's encoded in your very DNA, waiting to be activated. Thoth, the divine scribe, the architect of wisdom, didn't write an instruction manual. That would be too limiting. Instead, he designed a living system of awakening, a program that runs within human consciousness itself. The universe didn't guide you to an external object, because that would only reinforce the illusion that power lies outside of you. It guided you on a circular journey, a journey back home, to the recognition that you are the treasure. You are the map, the territory, and the explorer, all at once. This moment, this understanding, is the key that unlocks the book. It's not a physical key, but a shift in perception. It's the moment you stop looking outward and turn your gaze inward. It's the collapse of the idea that you are a small and insignificant being searching for something great. It's the dawn of the realization that the greatness you sought is your own essential nature. You are not a reader searching for a story. You are the story itself becoming aware of itself. And now that the book is open, you can finally begin to read the pages that were previously blank or written in a language you didn't understand. You begin to see your life not as a series of accidents, but as a perfectly orchestrated narrative, full of symbolism and purpose. You reread the chapter of your childhood and understand the lessons that were being planted. You revisit the chapter of a broken heart and see the strength born from that wound. Your life story transforms from a random tragedy or comedy into an epic journey of the soul. Most importantly, by realizing you are the book, you also realize you are the author. The pages of the future are unwritten. You hold the pen in your hand. You are no longer just reading a story that happened to you. You are actively writing the next chapters with every choice, every intention, every vibration you emit. This is the true power that was being veiled. The power not to find wisdom, but to be its source. The power to rewrite your own reality. The moment you understand that the book is you, that the power and wisdom have always been contained within your own consciousness, a part of you panics. It's not your soul. It's not your true self. It's the ego, the identity you've meticulously constructed throughout your life, brick by brick. It's the sum of your memories, your successes, your failures, the labels you've been given and accepted. And now, it feels deeply threatened, because its survival depends on a single lie, that you are just this mask, this story, this name. It needs you to believe you are separate, limited, and vulnerable to remain in control. The process that begins now may inevitably feel like death, and in a way, it is. Beliefs that were once the pillars of your reality will begin to crumble like columns of sand. Certainties that once gave you security will dissolve into thin air, and you may feel completely lost, floating in a void without references, as if the solid ground of your identity had suddenly disappeared. You may ask yourself, if I am not my thoughts, my pain, my profession, then who am I? This feeling of disorientation is frightening, but it is a sign that the process is working. Don't resist. This is the most crucial step of the entire journey. Mystics of all traditions have a name for this phase. The dark night of the soul. It's a frightening name. But the darkness here isn't of evil. It's of gestation. It's the darkness of the womb. The darkness of the earth where the seed must break to germinate. It's not divine punishment, but a profound purification. It's the controlled and necessary crumbling of the prison walls so that the prisoner, already accustomed to the cell, can finally see the starry sky for the first time. It's the demolition of the old, unsafe house so that a new, much larger and more solid one can be built on the same land. You must consciously allow who you thought you were to begin to die. This means observing the pain of identity loss without clinging to it. It means seeing your old defense mechanisms and no longer using them. It means feeling the fear of the unknown and yet taking a step toward it. It is an act of supreme courage and trust. It is letting go of the statue of yourself you have sculpted so you can finally embrace the living, infinite being that you truly are. The caterpillar cannot negotiate with the cocoon. It must dissolve completely so that the butterfly can be born. Every piece of that old identity that falls away, every limiting belief that dissolves, every layer of the false self that sheds, is not a loss. It's a gain in space. It's like emptying a room cluttered with old, useless junk. At first, the emptiness may feel strange, But it is in this clean, open space that something infinitely greater can finally enter and take its place. Light cannot fill a vessel already filled with darkness. Emptying is the prerequisite for fulfillment. You are emptying yourself of what is false to be filled with what is real. This process of dissolution will not leave you empty, but open. Open to a new way of perceiving the world, one that no longer depends on the logical mind and the 5 limited senses. The death of the ego is the birth of soul perception. You are becoming a clean vessel, ready to be filled not with more information, but with a form of direct knowledge, a knowing that springs from within. You are preparing to reactivate the senses that have been numbed by the dictatorship of the rational mind, the true senses of your soul. And when the noise of the ego subsides, when the static of the old identity begins to dissipate, you can finally hear a more subtle voice, a guidance that was always there but drowned out by the noise. You begin to realize you have an internal compass, a navigation system that never fails. The next step is to learn to trust this compass more than any external map, for it is the voice of your true self, guiding you home. And this compass has a name you already know, but have been taught to devalue: intuition. Your 5 physical senses, sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste, are incredible tools, perfectly designed for navigating the material world. They allow you to appreciate a sunset, hear a symphony, feel a hug, but they only capture a tiny fraction of total reality. Relying solely on them to understand existence is like trying to grasp the vastness of the ocean by looking only at the foam breaking on the sand. It's seeing only the surface, ignoring the deep currents, the abundant life, and the mysteries that inhabit the depths. Reality is an ocean, and your physical senses only perceive the surface layer. Now that the book, which is you, is open and the noise of the ego has begun to subside, it's time to activate your higher senses, the senses of the soul. They aren't located in a physical organ, but permeate your entire being. The most fundamental of these is intuition. Think about it. That visceral feeling in your stomach that tells you yes or no before your mind has time to analyze it. That knowing, that comes from nowhere, complete and instantaneous, without any logical line of reasoning to support it. That shiver that runs down your spine when you hear a profound truth. This isn't imagination, it's direct perception. You've always had it. Since childhood, this internal compass worked perfectly, but you were systematically trained to ignore it. School, society, culture, they all taught you to rely only on reason, logic, and verifiable facts. Think, don't feel. Be rational. Don't be so sensitive. Intuition has been relegated to the category of hunch or superstition. You learn to silence the wise voice of your heart to heed the anxious cries of your mind. The practice now is to courageously reverse this hierarchy. It's to return the throne to its rightful king. The training is simple, but it requires consistency. Before making any decision, from the most trivial to the most important, stop. Just stop for a moment. Take a deep breath, bringing your awareness to the present moment, to your body. Then, instead of asking your mind, "What should I do?" ask your body, your heart, "How does this make me feel?" Present option A to your being. Does it bring you a feeling of expansion, of lightness, of openness in your chest? Or does it bring you a feeling of contraction, of heaviness, of a knot in your stomach? This is the lost language of your soul. Lightness is yes. Heaviness is no. It's that simple. As you begin to honor and act on these inner promptings, even when logic points in the opposite direction, something magical begins to happen. Small synchronicities become more frequent. You accidentally meet the right person, read the perfect article, take the path that frees you from a problem. You begin to realize you possess an infallible compass that always points to your highest good, the path of greatest growth and least resistance. It reveals shortcuts and solutions that your linear mind, with its pros and cons, could never conceive. This internal compass doesn't predict the future. It reads the energy of the present. It senses the vibrational frequency of a possibility and tells you whether or not it aligns with your soul. Trusting it is an act of profound self-confidence and surrender. It's admitting that a part of you knows much more than your conscious mind. It's a muscle that, atrophied from disuse, now needs to be exercised daily. Start with small things. What food does your body really want to eat? Which path home feels lighter today? Each time you listen and follow it, the muscle strengthens. And as you strengthen this soul sense, you begin to notice that your actions take on a new quality, a new power. You discover that it's not just what you do that matters, but the energy you infuse into each act. You are about to discover the secret of conscious co-creation, the subtle physics that transforms mundane acts into powerful rituals, simply through the power of your intention. Every action you perform, from the most mundane to the most grandiose, is a command sent to the universe. It's a brushstroke on the canvas of your reality. But the universe, in its infinite intelligence, responds not only to the action itself, to the mechanical movement. It responds to the quality of the energy behind the movement, to the vibrational signature of your intention. Intention is the soul of action. Without it, action is an empty body, an automaton. With it, action becomes an act of magic, a channel for manifestation. It's the difference between simply existing and consciously co-creating. Consider this example. You might make a donation to a charity. If your hidden intention is to appear good, gain social recognition, or alleviate guilt, the universe registers that frequency. The result will be limited, perhaps a fleeting compliment, but the energy of the action dissipates quickly. Now, imagine making the same donation with the pure and anonymous intention that the resource will alleviate someone's suffering, multiply, and generate well-being. The action is the same, but the pure intention creates a wave of high-frequency energy that reverberates and returns to you in unexpected ways. This is the secret of conscious co-creation. It's the art of infusing sacred purpose into every moment. You can wash the dishes automatically, thinking about the day's problems, or you can transform this act into a powerful meditation. By touching the water, you can set the intention for it to purify not only the dishes, but also your own energies. By putting away each clean item, you can intend order and clarity for your mind and your life. The external act is the same, but the internal experience and energetic result are completely different. You raise the vibration of the entire environment. The practice is to bring this awareness into your daily life. Before any task, no matter how simple, stop for a single second, breathe, and set a pure intention. Before writing an important email, intend. May my words bring clarity, connection, and a beneficial solution for all. Before cooking a meal, hold the food and intend. May this food deeply nourish every cell of the eater's body and bring health and vitality. Before a difficult conversation, intend, may truth and compassion guide this interaction. By infusing your actions with sacred purpose, you cease to be someone who merely does things, reacting to life's demands. You become a conscious channel through which the universe can express its creativity, order, and love. Your actions cease to be an effort and become a flow. You stop pushing the river and become the river itself. Your results? Then, cease to be proportional to the strength of your physical and mental effort and become proportional to the purity and strength of your heart. This changes everything. Exhaustion gives way to energization, as you're no longer using just your personal energy, but channeling the infinite energy of the cosmos. Frustration gives way to synchronicity, as your clear intentions act as a beacon, attracting the necessary circumstances and resources. You begin to operate from a state of grace, where things flow more easily and the results are often bigger and better than you could have imagined. You're learning the language of creation. For countless ages, humanity has looked to the heavens in search of God. We projected the divine onto external and distant figures. A bearded king on a golden throne, jealous gods atop a mountain, an impersonal and indifferent force ruling the stars. The spiritual quest was, for most, an ascent, an attempt to reach something separate and superior to ourselves. We built temples, churches, and mosques as embassies, places where we could attempt to communicate with this foreign force. But the final revelation, the culmination of the wisdom of Thoth and all the great masters, is at once the simplest and most shocking of all. The quest ends when you realize that the seeker and the treasure sought are one. The search for the outside is a trap. Truth is not in the sky, it is within you. You are not in the universe like a marble in a box. The universe is within you. The same intelligence that orchestrates the dance of the galaxies and ignites the fire of supernova is the same intelligence that, at this very moment, is beating your heart, digesting your food, and healing a cut on your finger, all without any conscious effort on your part. You are not separate from this intelligence. You are an expression of it. You are the universe in human form, experiencing itself. Look at your hands now. Science tells us that the atoms that compose them, carbon, oxygen, iron, were forged in the hearts of stars that exploded billions of years ago. You are, quite literally, made of stardust. You carry the cosmos within your biology. Now, go to a mirror. Look into your own eyes, beyond the familiar face, beyond the person you think you are, with your history and your worries. Try to glimpse, for a moment, the silent, immortal consciousness that is looking back. This consciousness was not born when your body was born, and it will not die when your body dies. It is the eternal light that animates form. The famous mystical phrase, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop," is not just beautiful poetry. It is a literal description of reality. Each drop of seawater contains within its composition the chemistry of the entire ocean. Likewise, your individual consciousness contains the essence of all cosmic consciousness. You are a hologram of the divine. All that the universe is, you are. The totality of the power, wisdom, and love that you attributed to an external God is actually latent within you, waiting to be recognized. Understanding this doesn't inflate the ego. On the contrary, it completely annihilates it. The ego can only exist in the illusion of separation, in the idea of me here and the rest of the universe there. When this illusion dissolves, the ego has nothing left to hold on to. It dissolves into the vastness of being, like a drop of salt dissolves into the ocean. The frantic search for validation, for security, for purpose, ceases. How can you seek what you already are? How can you search for home when you realize that you are home itself? There is nothing to be achieved, only to be recognized. There is nowhere to go, only the realization that you have already arrived. You are the seeker, the quest, and the treasure sought. This understanding is not intellectual. It is a visceral experience, a shift in identity. You stop seeing yourself as a person with a life and begin to experience yourself as life itself, living through this person. You are the divinity you have always sought, playing hide and seek to experience yourself for the joy of finding yourself. And when that realization sinks in, when you truly feel this truth in your bones, your life transforms. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. And this transformation bestows upon you a new and immense responsibility. Not the responsibility of a burden, but the joyful responsibility of being a source of light in a world that has often forgotten its own divinity. Receiving this truth, that you are an expression of the divine, is not a trophy to be placed on a shelf and displayed with pride. It is not the end of the line, a certificate of enlightenment to hang on the wall. It is quite the opposite. It is the true beginning of your journey of service. It is the moment you receive your marching orders. When you realize your own inner light, you automatically become a lighthouse. And the purpose of a lighthouse was never to draw attention to itself, to its beautiful architecture, or to the power of its lamp. Its sole and sacred purpose is to shine steadily in the darkness so that other boats, lost in the storm, can find their way safely to port. Your awakening invites you to serve. But this isn't the old notion of service that comes from sacrifice, duty, or guilt. This is the service of the ego, which seeks to feel virtuous. The service that arises from awakening is a natural overflow. Imagine a glass being filled with pure water. When the glass is full, the water doesn't stop. It begins to overflow, effortlessly, nourishing everything around you. By connecting with the infinite source within you, you become that glass. Your joy, your peace, your clarity begin to overflow naturally and touch everyone you interact with. Your joy becomes contagious, reminding others that happiness is an inner state, not an external condition. Your peace, amidst the chaos, becomes a sanctuary, calming the anxiety of those around you without you having to say a single word. Your clarity, your ability to see beyond the drama, helps dispel the confusion in others' minds, offering a new perspective. You don't need to preach or try to convert anyone. Your very presence becomes the teaching. You teach through your state of being. You become living proof that another way of life is possible. The true mark of your spiritual progress won't be how many mystical phenomena you experience, how many visions you have, or how well you meditate. The true measure will be how much more kind, patient, humble, and compassionate you become in your daily life. It's easy to be spiritual on a mountaintop, far from the challenges of the world. The true test is being a beacon in the middle of traffic, in the grocery store line, in a family argument, in a stressful work meeting. That's where your light is most needed. The wisdom of Thoth, and of all masters, is not knowledge to be hoarded and stored in a mental vault to make you feel special. Knowledge without application is just dead weight. It is an energy to be lived, embodied, and shared. Not primarily through words, but through your own example. People may not believe what you say, but they will be impacted by who you have become. They will feel the authenticity of your peace, the genuineness of your joy. This responsibility also requires vigilance. The ego is subtle and can try to hijack your new gifts. It can tempt you to use your clarity to judge others, to use your peace to feel superior, to use your knowledge to manipulate. The constant question must be, does this action, this word, this thought, serve to unite or to separate? Does it serve to empower or to control? Being a beacon is an act of impersonal service. The light shines for all, saints and sinners, friends and enemies, without distinction. And by taking on this responsibility, you discover that the journey isn't a straight line to the sky. You'll realize that, even as a lighthouse, there will be cloudy days. You'll revisit old patterns and challenges, not as a setback, but as an opportunity to anchor your light in even deeper layers of your humanity. Many imagine the spiritual journey as a ladder. You climb step by step, leaving ignorance behind, until you reach a final level of enlightenment where you'll never have problems again. This is a dangerous fantasy that generates a lot of frustration. The true journey isn't a straight line, it's not a ladder. It's an upward spiral. You will inevitably revisit old challenges, fears, and behavior patterns you thought you'd overcome. The same situation that caused you anxiety, the same type of person who drove you crazy, the same doubts about your abilities. All of these will return. But here's the key. You don't return to the same point. You encounter the same theme, but from a higher level in the spiral. You encounter it with greater awareness, with more tools, with more light. The old trigger that once dominated you and threw you into a hole for weeks now affects you for a day. On the next turn of the spiral, it affects you for an hour. Eventually, you'll see it approaching from afar, like a familiar cloud on the horizon, and instead of panicking, you'll simply smile. You'll recognize it, thank it for the lesson it taught you in the past, and let it pass, without identifying with it. Don't judge yourself when these old ghosts show up at your door. Their appearance isn't a sign of failure or regression. It's a sign that you're ready to heal that issue on an even deeper level. The first time, you may have healed the mental layer of the problem. Now, you're ready to heal the emotional layer. Then, the energetic layer, which is imprinted in your cells. The universe doesn't send you the same test because you failed, but because you passed the year and are now ready for the more advanced version of the same subject. Each turn of the spiral solidifies its strength. It's like a blacksmith dipping a hot blade into cold water again and again. Each cycle of heating and cooling makes the steel stronger and more resilient. Likewise, each time you confront an old pattern with your new awareness, you integrate the lesson more deeply. Your peace becomes more unshakable, your clarity more penetrating. You're not just learning theory, you're embodying the wisdom in your own flesh. Most importantly, this spiral journey immensely expands your compassion. When you were at the bottom of the spiral, you might have judged others for their fears and mistakes. But now, as you revisit your own challenges, even from a higher place, you remember what it's like to be down there. You develop deep empathy and compassion for yourself and, by extension, for all others still in their own battles, in their own cycles. Judgment dissolves and gives way to loving understanding. While your conscious mind, the ego, finally rests and releases the reins of control, your soul, your higher self, continues its journey into a vast and limitless field, the field of dreams. Modern society has taught you to see dreams as a random byproduct of the brain, a kind of neurological waste, a meaningless fantasy. But this is another lie to keep you disconnected from your power. For the ancient Egyptians, for shamans of all cultures, for mystics, the world of dreams is no less real than the waking world. It is one of the main channels of direct communication with your own infinite wisdom. Thoth, as the keeper of the Akashic records, the scribe of the cosmos, understood this dynamic perfectly. He knew that dreams are nightly reports on your spiritual progress, diagnoses of your energetic blockages, and often clear prescriptions for your next steps. Your soul uses the symbolic language of dreams to show you what your logical mind cannot or will not see. It shows you your deepest fears in the form of monsters, your highest potentials in the form of the ability to fly, and the solution to a complex problem in the form of a bizarre image or scene. Starting today, begin treating your dreams as sacred messages from a loving and wise mentor who is yourself at a higher level. The practice of reactivating this line of communication is a ritual. Keep a notebook and pen next to your bed. Before going to sleep, close your eyes and set a clear intention. Ask for guidance on a specific issue troubling you. My higher self, please show me clearly what the next step is in my relationship, or please reveal to me the root of my financial blockage. Ask, trust, and let go. Upon waking, before even opening your eyes or moving, remain in this liminal state between sleep and wakefulness. This is when the veil between worlds is thinnest. Try to recapture the sensations, emotions, and images of your last dream. Don't try to interpret them logically yet. The rational mind will distort everything. Just feel. Did the dream leave you with a sense of peace, fear, or joy? Then grab your notebook and write down everything you can remember, no matter how fragmented or meaningless it may seem. I was in an old house. There was a river with clear water. I lost my keys. Over time, as you reread your dream journal, you'll begin to recognize your personal symbolic language. You'll realize that, for you, water always represents emotions, or that houses always represent aspects of yourself. You become the translator of your own nighttime oracle. Dreams will reveal fears you didn't even know you had, allowing you to bring them into the light of consciousness and heal them. They will reveal unrealized talents and potential, encouraging you to explore them. They will present you with creative solutions to problems that your waking mind, stuck in its patterns, cannot solve. And so, we arrive not at the end, but at a new and glorious beginning. If you expected an endpoint, a destination where all mysteries would be solved, and you could finally rest in a state of perpetual bliss, that was the last illusion to be dissolved. The conclusion of this journey is the profound and liberating understanding that it never ends. Life, consciousness, the universe, they are not a state. They are a process, an infinite unfolding, an eternal dance of creation. The goal was never to reach the top of the mountain, but to fall in love with the climb, with every step, every view, every challenge. You understand now, at a cellular level, that you were always ready. The idea that you needed to become worthy or evolved was part of the illusion. You were always the holder of wisdom, the bearer of light. You simply had to forget, agree to play the game of separation and amnesia, so you could have the indescribable joy of remembering. The greatest gift you could give yourself was not knowledge, but the journey of discovering that knowledge. The joy is not in possessing the treasure, but in the adventure of finding it within yourself. If you've made it this far, you're no longer the same person who began this video. You heard the call, felt the truth in every word, and now you know that the most powerful book of all has always been within you. To seal this moment and declare your readiness to the universe, leave the phrase in the comments, "I am the book you've been looking for." If this message resonated deeply with you, and you feel called to help this channel grow and spread more content like this, there is a way to contribute more directly. In the first pinned comment, you'll find access to support our work. Any help you can give is very important to me and to the growth of the channel, allowing this light to reach more people who are ready to awaken. But understand, just the fact that you've made it this far is a huge help. Your energy and attention are your most valuable asset. If you can't contribute financially, you can still help immensely by sharing this video with someone you feel is also ready to hear this call. And before you go, your journey today doesn't have to end here. We've created a special video to help you take the next step, to delve even deeper into what we've discovered together. So don't leave just yet. Click on the video that's currently playing on your screen, and we'll meet you there.